What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining this webinar. I'm super excited about it. Borderline, I'm drunk happy. I've been working on this for a really long time, and I'm super excited and humbled to finally be able to give this to you. The webinar is called How to Rapidly Melt Away Body Fat in 90 Days Without Giving Up Things You Enjoy. And before you turn this off because you think it's too good to be true, I promise you it's not. It's going to be a great webinar, and I hope you stick around. Um, I've had my own personal journey when it comes to weight loss. I've experienced the lows of the lows and the highs of the highs and everything in between. And one of the things that always stuck out at me as an issue in this fitness and nutrition world is that a lot of the diets out there nowadays are built on a single premise of we'll have you lose weight for a couple months, then put you on a maintenance plan for the rest of your life. And my problem always with these maintenance plans are that A, they're too rigid to exist in real life. It's not realistic. Life is fluid. You have to go with the flow. You can't expect something that's so rigid as a square of a maintenance plan and expect it to exist in harmony and be applicable in real life situations where real life is not a rigid square. Does that make sense? So I always felt that if we're made to follow that maintenance plan, it sort of sets us up for failure from the beginning. And the problem with that is if we set ourselves up to fail from the beginning, then no matter how great our intentions are from the start, and no matter how much motivation we may have, the second we hit a bump in the road, we start this downward spiral, and we end up telling ourselves that we don't deserve it, that we're never going to lose weight, this is how we're meant to be, all because we started the path with this unrealistic guideline, if that makes sense. And another thing that always stuck out at me was that when I started this process, I always found it easier to identify with someone who experienced similar things as I did. Whenever I met someone who had a lightning quick metabolism, I never thought, we could jive together. Like, yeah, you can eat pizza and whatever you want and fried food any time of the day, and you never have to worry about gaining weight, and you have an incredible six pack because of that. But like, you can't really then come tell me who can look at food and gain weight what to do because you haven't really experienced that. And my background, which I'll get into a little bit, I've hit that low, that extreme low, and I've gotten to that high, and I've gotten everywhere in between. So even though I may not have gone through something identical to what you have or my clients that I've helped had, I can empathize with them because I've gone through something very similar. And that's really my goal for this web class, is to teach you guys everything that I've learned throughout my journey and to give you back the control over your health and to be able to teach you to think for yourself so that way you can create a situation where that square is no longer a square, but it's something more fluid that can come with you throughout your life. So it's not a short-term 3 month situation, but it allows you to create a situation where you create a healthy lifestyle that leaves you healthier and happier, that you won't feel deprived and you won't have to give up the things you enjoy, and that you'll see that living a healthy lifestyle is extremely possible if you have the knowledge to do so through this web class. So before we get any further, I just want to give you a little background about who I am. My name is Yoni Lautman. I am a certified nutritionist and personal trainer. And for the past 15 years, I have been a professional chef. I went to culinary school. I love cooking. I love food. The background of my story, though, was a little bit sadder, and that's the low that I was talking about. When I was 12 years old, I got hit by a car, and I suffered tremendous trauma the entire year between 12 and 13. I was pretty much in a vegetative state, where not necessarily like in a coma, but the doctors basically told me that I had to sit at home and not use my brain. I think that's the best way I can explain it because there was so much swelling involved that they were afraid that if I continue to use learn and use my brain, then it would press against my skull and cause permanent brain damage. So basically, I really had to just sit at home and not do anything for an entire year. But also because I suffered such severe trauma physically, I really had no energy, and I had to eat all these fast digesting carbohydrates, so that way I would just really have energy to walk down a flight of stairs, which I couldn't. And it reminds me of a story where I was about 12 and a half at the time, and I was a block and a half away from my house, and I didn't have the energy to finish the walk, and my dad had to carry me home. And when I was in the thick of it, I thought that, knowing what I was going through was normal. But looking back on it now, especially a couple years after it happened, I was able to look back on it. It was really a a sad a sad memory, because a 12 and a half year old kid shouldn't have to be carried by their father. And I remember walking, him carrying me a block and resting at the beginning of the stairs to the front door, because he couldn't carry me anymore because I was 12 and a half years old, and I didn't have the energy to walk, so I had to rest there to finish the walk up the flight of stairs. And what this did is it put me on a path of developing a real emotional attachment to unhealthy food. And that basically got more solidified throughout the years as I got older. And it put me in, looking back on it now, obviously, hindsight's always 2020. It put me in a very deep depression. And at a time where, in the formative years that are 13, 14, 15, 16, and upwards, I went through a lot of trauma, and I developed a lot of habits and a lot of emotional attachments to things that weren't healthy. Um, so what happened is fast forward, I was 18. I started working out when I was 16, because I want to get the girls, and I thought that would do it. But I was very unhealthy, and when I was 18, I went to a doctor, and he said that if I continued on this path, then I'd be diabetic when I was 20 years old. And having had grandparents that had diabetes at that point, and knowing what it can do to the body, I swore to myself that I wouldn't do it, that I wouldn't get it. Sorry. And the doctor told me that the only way to do it, even though I was working out and I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted, the doctor said the only way to guarantee that, or delay getting diabetes, was to change the way that I ate and change my nutrition. Um, so when I left that appointment, I was like sort of stuck with a conundrum, because on one hand, I needed to change the way I ate, not only to get the results of working out that I wanted, but because I swore to myself that I wasn't going to get diabetes. On the other hand, around like 15, I started developing a real love for food, and I had started culinary school, and I really enjoyed that cooking because I was a creative person and it was an outlet for my creativity. So I was sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to figure out how to combine both worlds. On one hand, I'm going to school every day to learn how to cook these, glamorous gourmet meals that are the furthest thing from healthy one can imagine. On the other hand, I know that eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And I was having a really hard time figuring out how to combine the two. So through a lot of trial and error, I was able to take my knowledge that I was learning in school and adapt it to my healthy lifestyle. And what I found is that not only did I prevent myself from becoming diabetic, I had lost a tremendous amount of weight that I had gained from the years after my accident. My health was improving. I hardly, was getting sick anymore because of my immune system. I was more youthful. I had more energy. People always thought I was always, even nowadays, people think that I'm 10 years younger than I actually am. And at that point, the biggest benefit that I found was that even though I still had, and I was still working through these emotional things when it came to food, I wasn't sweating it. I was able to know that even if I fell off the horse for a day or two, or a week even, I was able to rest assured that I had the knowledge to get back on track, and I was able to, I wasn't gonna, when I was going through the journey to begin with, and I'm sure you guys have experiences as well, and can sympathize with this, is that when you when you hit a little bump in the road, it's very easy to say hell with it, and that's what it's going to be, and give up, and that's very unhealthy. But by having the knowledge that I did and being able to figure out the things that I did, I'm able now, even if I, forget, get off the horse for a day or two, I'm able to tell myself, you know what, I have the knowledge and I have the ability to get back on track. It's not the biggest deal because I look at it more as a lifestyle, thing that I'm going to do for the rest of my life versus something very short term for the next month where I don't have that much time to lose. If we look at weight loss as a 2 month goal for an event and that's it, then yes, a day or two is a significant amount of that time. But if we look at it over the course of our lives, if we screw up a day, it's not so bad. We'll get back on track. And my goal is, to give you that knowledge so you can do that. But nowadays, the biggest benefit of what I've been able to accomplish is that I have the energy now to play with my daughter. I get to experience life with her on her level. I get to play with her as a kid. Like we just went to the park the other day, and I was running around on the playground with her. I was flipping over the bars with her, and I have that energy to do that. And to me, that is the biggest benefit that I could say that I get from living a healthy lifestyle. Um, and I honestly want that for everybody. I want everybody out there to live. We only get one shot at life, right? And I want I want you guys to be able to live it as healthy and happy as possible, right? We don't deserve, we deserve every day to wake up and be happy. We deserve every day to look at ourselves in the mirror and be happy with who we see and be happy with how we feel. And I want that for everybody. And I would be honored if I could play some small part in helping you accomplish that. Because at the core of it, I believe that we all want to be healthy and we all want to lead healthy lives, right? And like I said before, the problem is that a lot of times these maintenance plans don't allow for life to happen. Because here's a perfect example. Let's say, for example, the maintenance plan tells you to eat fish, right? But you're either allergic like me or you hate fish. Then what do you do? Or if you have to go to a wedding and what's on the maintenance plan isn't on the buffet, and there's no options on the buffet that fit your 4 or 5 options that you have on the maintenance plan, or you have to go to a business dinner, or just life happens that doesn't fit exactly to what that maintenance plan tells you to do, then of course we're going to fail. Now, leading a healthy lifestyle, let me just clarify, doesn't mean for everybody eating steamed chicken and vegetables or living in a gym. There are people who, you know, do this professionally to a certain extent that they're willing to do that. There's some of us who don't. They just want to lead a healthy lifestyle. So however that applies to each and every one of us, the desire to lead a healthy lifestyle and the desire to be happy is still there. The problem is that we need to figure out a way to have the way we eat mold and adapt to our lifestyle versus having our lifestyle adapt to the way we eat. Does that make sense? And what I've learned through all the trial and error that I've gone through is that this is possible. And I had a client one time, just to share with you, that he was probably had everything under the sun that you could think of. He was morbidly obese, high blood pressure, diabetic. Um, what else did he have? He was like taking a bunch of different injections. He could barely walk. Like he was just in a horrible state. And we started off really slowly, and within 8 months he had lost over 100 pounds. So I know that what I'm trying to teach in this web class not only worked for me personally, and I developed through all the trial and error myself, but I have countless and countless clients who've gone through this process, and it helped them as well. All right, so now that we finished the introduction, I want to get into the meat of this webinar and go over the 3 secrets that I want to share with you and discuss a little deeper as we move forward. All right, the first secret that I want to talk to you about is how does actually understanding the science of nutrition help take back control of your health, right? Very important to understand why we need to know what goes on behind the scenes in terms of nutrition in order to move forward successfully in our weight loss journey. The second secret I want to share with you is I want to show you how you can really love and enjoy food and get back to that point while keeping it healthy and nutritious. All right, I know that before people get familiar with eating healthy, it's a big misconception, and they're afraid that they're not going to be able to, love food and have food as a gathering of family, and really what it's like in our social circles nowadays. And they're afraid that they're going to have to sacrifice a lot of what we do with food, and I want to show you how that's completely untrue. The third secret I want to share with you, and this is probably the most important, I'm a huge believer in this, is that the health of the mind, right? Your mindset and how you look at your weight loss journey is going to be the one X factor that can make or break your success. All right. So I believe that these three secrets, if you realize that they sort of build upon one another, right? So the first secret is understanding how the science of nutrition is going to help you take back control of your health. Once you understand the science behind nutrition, then I want to teach you how to, get back to a point where you can have a positive relationship with food and enjoy, and while keeping it healthy and nutrition. And once you've accomplished that, right, the food aspect, because then we won't feel deprived and so on and so forth, then it's about changing your mindset to one that can guarantee your success. All right, so let's get into the first secret of this webinar, right? How does understanding the science of nutrition help you to take back control of your health? The reason why a lot of people may not understand why understanding the science behind it is so important. And the reason why it's so important is because with me, I'll tell you my own personal experience is that before I started my own personal journey, I didn't really put any significance into the food that I put into my body. It wasn't until I had the accident and I started that whole downward spiral, and then I got to the point at that doctor's office when he told me I have to make a change or else I'm going to become diabetic, and I started my own personal journey. It wasn't until that point that I realized how important the food that we put into our bodies was. It's the fuel that fuels us, right? And the point that I want to make is that understanding the science of nutrition means that it doesn't make a difference how the food looks like on the plate, right? You have to understand how the food interacts once it comes into our bodies. The example is you have two different foods, but they both get broken down into glucose. That's all the body cares about is the glucose. It doesn't make a difference whether it's in a round shape or a square shape. That is irrelevant. It's just a matter of understanding that it gets broken down into glucose and what that glucose then does in our body. If you understand that, then you'll have a much better time understanding how nutrition works, and you'll be able to make better decisions because you understand the science behind the nutrition, right? Does that make sense? So another example I want to give you just to back this up is weight loss is based on, in the simplest form, a math equation. Calories in minus calories out equals weight loss, right? So let's say, for example, you want to, do your own thing, whatever it may be, and you say, you know what, I'm going to go according to the nutrition label on the side of every food, and I'm going to follow that, right? I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to, stay within the food pyramid, so on and so forth, and that's what I'm going to follow. One thing that when I was, learning about nutrition that blew my mind when I heard this is the nutrition label is based on a 2,000 calorie a day diet, right? So let's say you're somebody who needs to eat 1,500 calories a day, right? But you didn't know that, right? You think I'm going to follow the nutrition label and I'm going to be great. But, work this out with me in your head. You're following a diet plan that's telling you to eat 2,000 calories a day, but you're only supposed to be eating 1,500. But in order to lose weight, you have to eat less. You have to consume less calories than you need, either by consuming less food or working out to create a deficit. But all of a sudden, even though you're trying to eat healthy, you're eating 500 calories more per day than you actually need, right? So what does that mean? That means that there's a good chance you're going to gain weight unintentionally because you're eating more calories than you need without ever even knowing it, right? So when I heard that, that blew my mind. That's why understanding the science behind everything is so important, right? You need to know how many calories you need. You need to know how many, what the food gets broken down into so that you understand how that then will affect your body. But I don't want you to be afraid of the fact that it's not going to be a science class where it's very boring, right? I'm going to take the principles that I want to teach you and break it down so you understand it, but also I always believe that the best way to learn is through practical examples. So I'm going to give you examples and homework, if you will, so that you can understand and put it into real time, and then you can understand as you're doing it, the concepts will start, being ingrained in you. You'll understand it, repetition, and that way, over the course of time, you'll be able to really get a good grasp on the science behind the nutrition. So that's one path. But the other path that you might be thinking is just following a diet and not understanding the science of nutrition, right? The issue with that is that I'll go back to what I said before. If you don't know the science behind nutrition and you just want to follow the maintenance plan, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because there will come many times throughout your life where either you'll get bored because you only have 3 or 4 options, or you're going to be presented with a situation where it doesn't fit into that maintenance plan. And because you don't understand the science behind it, then you're not going to be able to adjust accordingly. And here's another perfect example, right? Let's say you are at an event, right? And you really want the pasta. Okay, let's just say you really want the pasta, but it's not on your maintenance plan. So what do? You can either say no to the pasta, but then you're going to feel deprived, or if you understand the science behind the nutrition and how food works within our body as it gets broken down into its simplest form, then what you can do is, okay, I want the pasta. I know right now how to manipulate the pasta so that way it's not as detrimental to me, and I could eat the pasta, but also I can figure out a way that I can eat it without throwing me off course. You understand the difference? That is why understanding the science of nutrition is so, so important. All right, so let's get into the second secret of this webinar, and that is that I want to show you and explain to you how you can still love and enjoy food while keeping it healthy and nutritious. Unfortunately, nowadays, there is a huge misconception in the fact that healthy food has to be boring or limiting in variety or bland, and as someone who loves food, that really couldn't be further from the truth, and I want to explain to you why. When I first started my personal journey, I was having a very hard time trying to find a happy medium, like I spoke about before, between the world of nutrition and healthy eating that I needed to exist in, but also the fact that I had this love for food and creating, and I was being trained, and I had being trained in culinary school as a professional chef. So I really struggled in the beginning to find like a happy medium between both worlds. And what I realized is, as I started thinking out of the box, I started taking the skills and concepts that I was learning in the culinary world and trying to apply them into healthy eating. And after a lot of trial and error, what I found is that there actually could be a lot of variety and flavor in healthy eating when you utilize the concepts of that you learn in culinary school. And one of the examples that I give people to to highlight this and put this in realistic terms is that food nowadays has become an activity. It brings people together. It's a great date night, which is phenomenal, and that's positive. That's really like a beautiful thing. The problem is that when the foods that usually when there's an activity or a gathering of people, there is a tremendous excess amount of food. The types of food create the issue, or the frequency that the gatherings happen at create an issue. But if you took that same concept of making an activity, of making it a healthy activity, all of a sudden there's no issue with it, right? Here's an example. My wife and I do this a lot for date night, and I tell this to clients, like I said, to put in realistic terms, is that if you want to go on a date night or you want to have an outing with your family and you want to surround food, go on a walk through a farmer's market, right? And pick something that you've never heard of before, or that you've heard of but you haven't tried, you were scared to. Buy it, figure out a recipe, look up a recipe that you want to try, and have that be the activity. Have the family come together and cook it. All of a sudden, it's activity around food, but in a healthy form, right? So if you start learning the skills, almost making you into like a professional chef, then cooking healthy no longer becomes limiting or bland or boring. You could have activities surrounding it. All of a sudden, it becomes a very positive atmosphere. So that's another thing that I want to show you guys in the class is I want to teach you how to maximize your time in the kitchen so that way things get done a lot quicker you could start adding variety, you could start experimenting, and all of a sudden it becomes a very positive atmosphere, right? And I want to share this with you again in a real time example, a real time recipe. All right, so even though that may have seemed like a simple recipe, I want to show you how it couldn't be further from the truth and how we're building each secret builds upon the next. So because you understood the science of nutrition and what makes a healthy food, you're able then to take that knowledge, right? Go to the supermarket, pick out this pasta that you may not have picked up before, but when you looked at the nutritional facts, you understood that it was a better option. Then instead of just making it plain pasta, you were able to incorporate all those other things to make it a full, balanced, amazing meal. But also, what you accomplished is if you did it with your family or with your kids, it was a group activity, right? And it was a healthy group activity. So you went from understanding the science of nutrition and what makes a healthy food to then being able to seek out on your own eventually that, okay, this is a healthier option for pasta. Let me bring it home, turn it into a beautiful activity, beautiful get together with my kids. And then the third secret is going to build upon that, right? Because what a lot of people may be afraid of is that they're not going to have the self-control or willpower to do this, right? And that happens a lot. We spoke about this also in the beginning, is that oftentimes we come out the gate with, when we're starting a new diet or workout program, we come out the gate with all the motivation in the world, and and we come out the gate running. I say it's like they sprint out, right? And what happens is you hit the first bump in the road, and then you start this downward spiral, and you fail again, and you're angry at yourself, and it starts a whole downward spiral that is just not beneficial to succeeding in weight loss, right? So part of the program, what we're going to do, and this is going to build, we're going to build upon this in the third secret, is once you start learning how to cook better, right? And the food becomes enticing, you're not going to feel like you're giving up so much, like you're sacrificing so much. So if you don't feel that deprivation and that you're giving up so much, then all of a sudden you start looking forward to it, right? So that creates a positive outlook. So you start looking forward to eating healthy. And then because it's easier to look forward to something that you enjoy, then all of a sudden you start having more self-control and willpower to keep to it. And then once you start having all these little tiny successes, then all of a sudden that self-control and willpower that you didn't think you had all of a sudden starts developing, starts getting stronger and stronger and stronger, all because you started building a proper foundation and building upon it to eventually become your own, personal nutritionist slash chef. Does that make sense? Okay, let's get into the third secret of this webinar, and that is what I believe to be the most important, and that is how your mindset is going to be the one X factor that can make or break your success. Unfortunately, some people may be out there thinking that there's going to be a quick fix for me. I don't have to go through this whole program. I don't have to learn all the information that I want to teach you, because at some point I'm going to come across this one quick fix, and bam, it's going to be that golden ticket, and it's going to work for me. And unfortunately, that is not going to be the case, because the truth is that it didn't take you a week to get into the position that you're in, and it's not going to take you a week to get out of it. All right. There are many crash diets out there that promise the world but don't deliver, right? They promise 20 pounds in a month, and to keep up those crash diets long term is not realistic. And again, puts you in a position to set you up for failure. And when you start off the journey on with failure, then ultimately that is what's going to end up as, right? And we don't need another failed attempt. We need this one to be the last time where you finally free yourself from the ball and chain, right? And I want to give you an example of, again, in real time, of how this works. A big problem that we all face when we start a new program is that we say things like, I won't have carbs, I won't have this, right? So I want you to do right now is take two things that you feel like you're going to give up, right? Say, like it's written on the screen, I won't have carbs, right? What's the one thing you want right after you say that? You're going to want carbs, right? But now think of two things in a positive form. Like, okay, as a result, if I start this new program, I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to have more confidence, which is better for you, right? Which is easier to accept. If you view things in a negative light from the beginning, all you're going to want to do is that, like little kids do this all the time. And unfortunately, I don't think we ever grow out of it in certain things, is that if you tell a little kid they can't have something, all they're going to want is that something, right? So if you tell yourself, I can't have carbs, all you're going to want is carbs, right? But if you say that, okay, I'm going to have healthy carbs because they offer more nutritional value, and it's going to give me more energy, and as a result I'm going to have more confidence in myself. All of a sudden that's something that becomes easier to stick to. So a little switch in your mental outlook on a simple things like carbs goes from only wanting carbs and craving carbs to, okay, I'm going to have healthy carbs that give me more bang for my buck because I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to feel better about myself. I'm going to be able to buy new clothing, whatever it may be, whatever works for you, because again, only you know you. Whatever works for you, switch all your thoughts into a positive light, and then all of a sudden things become so much easier to keep to. Does that make sense? You getting it? If you do, comment, let me know that you are, because this is a crucial part. Whether you stick with me or not, this is a crucial thing, is that understanding that if you switch your mindset to a more positive look, everything else becomes a lot easier to keep to long term. And the key is to make this a lifestyle change, not a short-term change. Right? And I knew this to be true because I went through the same thing. When I first started my weight loss journey, right, when I was 18 and I had to make that switch, I also felt deprived. I felt like, in the beginning, I felt like I was going to have to sacrifice my other passion in life, which was cooking, right? I wasn't able, because I didn't know the science of nutrition, I wasn't able to think for myself. I felt like, I had no energy. I was always in like this mental fog that I'm sure you guys are familiar with. And the biggest thing was that at 18, I didn't see how I was realistically going to live my entire life in that state. That didn't seem, like a good way to move forward. So when I started really dedicating myself to understanding nutrition and understanding how to combine both worlds, all of a sudden I started getting this freedom back that I didn't have before, right? So I want, like, for a moment, I want you to think about what that could be like for you. I want you to think about if you had complete freedom when it comes to food because you knew what to do, right? And you could have friends over and you could share with them this new healthy dish that you created, right? What would that be like for you? Imagine for a moment if you had more energy and more confidence and you were able to get down on the floor with, either your kids or your grandkids or, your friends' kids, whatever it may be, cousins, whatever, nieces, nephews, whatever it may be. Imagine what that would be like. Like all of a sudden that world, for me at least, and I hope it is for you, all of a sudden that world becomes something that I really want to live in. Like I want to be part of that world. And if it means spending the next few months dedicating myself to learning and accomplish so I can accomplish that, to me, that's worth it. So I can get that beautiful vision that I have. All right, that last thing that I shared was pretty deep. If you need a moment, I understand. Put me on pause and come back later. But I really hope you guys are enjoying the webinar so far, and I really want you to spend a moment and go over the three secrets that I shared and see how they build upon each other, right? At the beginning, we spoke about understanding how the science of nutrition is beneficial to taking back control of your health. Because if you understand how food works within our body, then all of a sudden you could take that knowledge and apply it in practically and create food that is healthy, nutritious, that you enjoy to cook, that's flavorful, that you can have an activity around. And then once you could do that, it helps to change your mindset into one that has a more positive outlook on your weight loss journey. So that way you're not starting off the journey in a place of negativity, deprivation, sacrificing. You're starting your journey in a positive light of gaining. I'm going to gain this. I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to have more confidence. And all of a sudden, when you look at things in a positive light, it becomes something that you're able to keep to long term. All right, so honestly, I really hope you guys gained something from me sharing those three secrets. I think they're really important and they really help share with you a little bit about what we're going to discuss in this web class. I was super excited to share with you. I hope you guys were super excited to hear it and gain something from it. And if you are ready to take this to the next level, I want to hear from you. Let me know, because I am super excited to finally share with you my web class called The Health Secrets to a Healthier and Happier You, a complete nutrition, health, and cooking course. All right, basically what this is about is I'm going to take all the concepts that I discuss and much more and teach you in 90 days how to create healthy food, prepare it, learn the science behind it, help change your mental outlook, and put you on a path where you could have long-term success in your weight loss journey, right? And this is what you're going to get in this web class, all right? You're going to get the MPS Nutrition and Cooking course. Within that course, we're going to learn the nutritional value of foods, right? From carbs to antioxidants. You're going to learn which types of foods are better for you, right? You're going to learn about the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, which ones you need, which ones you don't, where to get them from, how to use supplements in your life. Unfortunately, right, the word supplement has a bad connotation to it sometimes. But in reality, supplement could be very beneficial and useful when used properly. I'm going to show you how to use them and how to look for the right supplements, right? I'm going to give you the skills you need, from knife skills to multitasking in the kitchen to reading a recipe properly, so that way you can maximize your time in the kitchen and become your personal chef, all right? It has worked for my clients. The tips that I use as a professional chef, I use in my everyday life. These things will work for you, I promise, right? The catch is, there's always a catch in everything in this world, right? This only works for someone if they're willing to take back control of their health, right? If they really want to make a proper foundation and make healthy living their lifestyle, then this is for you. If you're not, right? If you just hope that there's going to be that quick fix out there, or you're going to yo-yo diet, or you're going to, throw a dart, blindfolded and hope you hit the bullseye, if that's where you are, that is great. I wish you all the success in the world, and please, no hard feelings. But this isn't gonna work for you, right? You're gonna have a bad results, bad feeling, and I just don't want you to have that, right? I want you to succeed. I said in the beginning, I am humbled by the fact that you're even listening to this webinar, and I really, really would love to help you succeed and get more confident and feel better about yourself. But it's going to require work on both ends. Work on my part to teach you, and work on your part to learn. If you're not willing to do that, then that's fine. If you are, I'm super stoked. I want to have a really, really great time with you, and I'm really, really excited to share this. Because at the end of it, right, my purpose of this web class is to free people of the ball and chain that is the yo-yo dieting, and the the damage that it does to our mental health by always starting and failing, starting and failing. I know from personal experience that it's just that's really hard. It's a really big pill to swallow, to constantly do that throughout your life and constantly feel like I know I deserve better. I know that I would be much happier, more confident, but I'm always starting and failing, and I'm starting to get depressed and give up. I know what that's like, and that is not a way to live, right? So if you just dedicate a little time, invest in yourself, a little bit of time, you would put yourself on a path where you can make a long-term change and have long-term success. All right. And I know, and some of you may still be thinking that you can't get started because you don't have the time to commit. And I understand that. We all lead very busy lives. But the benefit is with this web class is that it's all going to be on video, and it's all going to be uploaded to the course so that you can go at your own pace. You can do it when it suits you, right? Because it's all about you. It's all about putting yourself in a situation for you to succeed. It's all about giving you the tools, however I need to make you succeed, right? So because everything's uploaded to the course on video, you can go back, watch it whenever you want, refresh till you really understand the concept, however you need to watch the videos, and whatever pace you need to go at to learn the concepts properly, then that is why this web course is so beneficial. This course, the MPS Nutrition and Cooking course, is valued at just under $7,000, which alone is a very cheap culinary school, let me tell you, right? But not only that, but I'm going to give you the following tools. The first tool I want to give you is 70 articles on a variety of health and nutrition topics, okay? The purpose of these articles is when you read them, right, you're going to vastly improve your knowledge on both nutrition and cooking. And because you have all this information at your fingertips, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to see results a lot quicker, right? And start implementing the little tips that you're going to get right away so that you see results a lot quicker. Because unfortunately, which is completely understandable, we need a little bit of immediate gratification in order to start, get the ball rolling a little bit, get that motivation going, right? So by having these little tips that you could implement right away and get you to see results a lot quicker, that starts the process, all right? It took me a long time to put all these articles together, right? All the hours of studying and learning. It took me a very long time to do it. Um, but I want to give it to you because my goal is to give you the best chance to succeed. Okay, I don't want this to come off as a situation where I'm in it for only my benefit. I have many clients that that I help now. I really want to put this out there to you, so even if we can't meet face to face, that we're going to be able to put you on a path to success and give you the tools that you need to succeed. Okay, so you're not only going to get the NPS nutrition course, which is valued at just under $7,000. I'm going to give you the 70 articles on health and nutrition, which is valued at $97. But I'm also going to give you access to my private Facebook group. When I was first starting my journey, I didn't have a support group around me because social media wasn't as big as it is nowadays. So I didn't have anybody necessarily to lean on when I was going through hard times. All right. By getting access to this private Facebook group, you will have not only myself, but you will have a group of people who are just the same as you on a similar path, facing similar problems. And as a community, we can build a community where we do everything we can to help everyone else succeed. Look, I want to get real with you for a second, okay? I get it. Habits are really hard to break, right? I experience that same issue with myself every single day, right? And to be honest, I could stop the webinar right now. I've already succeeded with my nutrition, but I'm really trying to convey to you guys that this is not about me, right? This is about you. I want you to succeed, right? You could take whatever you learned and go off on your own. And unfortunately, because habits are hard to break, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day, but eventually soon, you'll just go back into your routine. And that's completely understandable. And I'm not trying to put you down in any way, shape, or form. But in order to move forward, one of the things that they say about therapy, the hardest part about therapy is not the therapy itself, it's it's first admitting that there's a problem and being able to analyze yourself honestly. Honesty about ourselves is really hard to accept. So what I'm trying to say is that I get that routine is easy to fall into and that habits are hard to change. But that doesn't have to be the case, right? I want this to be a relationship. I want to become your mentor. I want you to mentor me. I want us to keep each other motivated so that way we can break the habits and make a long-lasting change in all our lives. Okay, so let's just recap real quick what you're going to get so far. You're going to get the NPS nutrition course, right, which is valued at just under $7,000. You're going to get the articles on health and nutrition, which is valued at $97. You're going to get access to my private Facebook group, which is valued at just under $1,000, totaling a little under $8,100, right? But I promise you that's not it, right? I'm also going to give you an ebook series that outlines positive things. I told you before, I am a huge believer in that the state of our mental health is crucial to our success. And when I started my journey, I went through a lot of depression, a lot of self-doubt, till I got to a point where I was understanding that my nutrition had to change, but I wasn't understanding that my mindset had to change as well. And I had to go through a lot of heartache, a lot of dark times to get to that point where I realized how important our state of our mental health is when trying to succeed in our weight loss journey. And the purpose of this book is to try to show you how to start removing those negative feelings that you have, those negative outlooks that you have of self-doubt, of depression, of I don't deserve this, it's never going to happen, because we need to start building upon the positive outlooks on how we view things, right? The positive outlook towards your weight loss journey, the positive outlook on what you're going to gain, right? It's going to, by utilizing the concepts in this book, it's going to make it faster and easier for you to start from the beginning. Instead of it taking you, let's say, 2-3 months to start making the changes, with this book, it's going to allow you to start making small changes right away to get you into a more positive outlook, into a more positive outlook, right? And I know some of you are still fighting me a little bit and saying that, well, my outlook, isn't so negative, and I'm always trying to look at the positive when I can. And the truth is, yeah, you probably do when it comes to things that aren't so significant, right? But even the smallest idea can blossom into a big one without us realizing, and that's when it becomes an issue. And when we're stuck in traffic, it's a lot easier to have a positive outlook when you're stuck in traffic, or when something small happens. But when we look into ourselves and we try to self-analyze, that's when the positive outlook becomes a lot more difficult, right? So that's why this book is so beneficial, because it's going to start giving you little things, easy things that you could start implementing right away to jumpstart that process, right? So again, you're going to get the MPS nutrition course. You're going to get the 70 articles on health and nutrition, the private Facebook group, and the positive ebook series, totaling a value of just under $8,300, right? Huge value and huge benefit to you. But I'm also going to give you a complete set ebook series on cooking right now. What this is going to help you also do is, by starting to give you the tools, again, to jumpstart you. Everything's about jumpstart, to give you that little bit of instant gratification, so that way you can start seeing results quickly, so that it can snowball that motivation, right? So it's going to give you the tools that you need to start implementing them into your kitchen on day one, right? So you'll already see results from the cooking aspect on day one, right? And I had to go through so many years. I think it was a total of 3 years of school, and then probably like 8 to 10 years of cooking, of actual, cooking in the kitchens and working, for me to gain all the information in this book. It's over 900 pages long. It's going to take you a long time to read it. I'm sorry, but that is huge, huge value. And I know when I was thinking about whether or not I should give this book, the first thing that popped into my head was like, well, it's not health related at all, right? There's very little in it that's health related. But then I figured, you know what? Just like I had to find a happy medium between both worlds, and I took all the skills and knowledge that I was learning in culinary school and implementing it into my healthy lifestyle, you guys can do the same. So yes, it's not all health related. What this will do is not only it'll give you the tips so you can start seeing things immediately and start becoming a better cook, but also life is about enjoying, right? And food, even though I've been preaching healthy food for the past 45 minutes, life is not always going to allow you to do that, right? You may want unhealthy food, which is fine. Like, by all means, go for it. Or you may be entertaining someone who you want to, go the safer route. You want to cook their favorite foods that may not be healthy, or you want to have whatever the case may be, right? There are going to be instances where you just need to be a normal chef, right? And this book will allow you to do that. All right, I have just thrown a huge amount of value your way, and I just want to take a moment to go over it because it's a lot, and I want you to really understand what you're going to get. Okay, you're going to get the MPS nutrition course, which is valued at just under $7,000. You're going to get the 70 articles on healthy nutrition, which is valued at $97. Access to my private Facebook group, which is valued at just under $1,000. The positive ebook series, which is valued at $197, and the complete library of cooking, which is valued at just under $2,000, for a total of $10,287. Now, I'm not going to charge you that, obviously, but I want you to ask yourself one question, right? If I were to charge you that, right, let's just say, and it gave you the ability to take back control of your health, would it be worth it for you? Think about that for a moment, right? If it got you to understand nutrition better and got you to start cooking healthier, would it be worth it for you, right? If it gave you the willpower that you didn't think you'd ever have, would that be worth it to you, right? If I gave you the tools to succeed, right, without you hoping for the next quick fix, would that be worth it for you? Because I had two choices when I wanted to make this web class, when I decided to make this, right? I could either go as cheap as possible and sell as many as I could. And the problem with that is that not only would I not have enough incentive to pile on the value, but I wouldn't be able to dedicate myself fully to the people who join, right? And my main goal is to make sure I give you all the tools that you need to succeed. So my second option was to raise the price a little bit, so that way I can give you everything that I feel that you need to succeed and finally take back control of your health. So if it did give that to you, right, and it did give you the ability to take back control of your health, and it allowed you to start cooking healthy, and it allowed you to have more self-confidence, and it put you on a path to improve your life, to lead a happier, healthier life, to put you on a path for a better tomorrow, what would that be worth to you? To you? Because honestly, for my own healthy state of mind, for my own healthy body, right, I paid that $10,000, right? Over the course of the years since I started my own personal journey, I've probably paid more than that to learn the knowledge that I have and to gain the knowledge that I've had. I spent more time and more money than I would like to admit. So to me, it was worth paying the $10,000. But I don't want you to have to do that. When I decided to make this web class, my goal was to help as many people as I could and give them the tools to lead better, healthier, happier lives. And that is my only goal when it comes to this web class. So in order to accomplish that, in order to try to help as many people as possible, I am going to give a huge discount to the course. Okay, it's normally priced at $9.99. Today I'm going to slash it pretty much in half, right, and offer it at $4.97. All right, so now we've come to the fork in the road, and you have two choices in front of you. All right, you can either do nothing, not take this leap of faith, which is 100% risk-free, and I wish you the best of luck, no hard feelings, and I just wish the best for you in whatever you choose to do, honestly. The second option is for you to take a moment and look deep inside and really tell yourself, right? Accept the fact that you deserve to make this investment in yourself, right? Tell yourself, you can spend a couple minutes doing it. Tell yourself, you know what? I've struggled. I've been sad. I've felt like I failed. I felt like this will never happen for me. I've been depressed. I want this. I want to have more confidence. I want to have more energy. I want to feel good about myself. I want to lead a healthier lifestyle, and I deserve to make that. I deserve to make these changes. The best part is that you really don't have anything to lose, because if you don't feel that this web class is showing you how to take back control of your health, and it's not giving you the tools that you need to prepare healthy food, then I will refund your money. And the reason I'm willing to do that is because I want to take away any hesitation or concern you might have to making this investment in yourself. Because even if it only does half of what I said today, it's going to be worth it. It's going to pay for itself by the time the course ends. But you have to act now, because after the first 100 people sign up, I don't know when this deal is going to come back. But because you've watched the webinar and you've gotten this far, and I know you're serious about making a change, I've reserved a spot for you, but I don't know how long I can keep it for, all right? And to up the ante just a little bit more, for the first 50 people that are going to sign up, I'm going to throw in something else. I'm going to hook them up with a healthy eating ebook for kids, right? Because as parents, we really want what's best for our kids, and what they put in their bodies and what we give them to eat is crucial for their development. And since your family is just as important to me as my own, I want to throw in this book to give you a little guidance and a little outline of how to maximize the nutrition that we put into our kids' bodies. So let's go over all this crazy value you're going to get, right? You're going to get the MPS Nutrition and Cooking course. You're going to get the 70 articles on a variety of topics in health and nutrition, access to my private Facebook group, the Positive Thinking ebook series, and a complete library of cooking ebook, right? Totaling $10,287. But for now, for this webinar and the first 100 people that are going to sign up, it's only $497, which honestly is a small investment to make in yourself, right? We deserve this. We deserve to be happier. We deserve to be healthier. We deserve more confidence and more energy and a better immune system. So I want you to take a moment right now, look inside yourself, and fully accept the fact that in this instance, in this one moment, you deserve to come first this time, right? Often in life, we always end up putting ourselves second, right? It always seems like we come second. Everything else comes first, whether it be work, family obligations, social obligations, whatever it may be, we always come second. But for this moment, take this leap of faith with me and put yourself first and make this small investment in yourself. Because what's going to happen is that if you put yourself on a path to a healthier, happier you, then the people around you will be better off for it because they're going to feed off that positive energy and they're going to start being happier and healthier and they're going to improve their lives as well, right? So in an effort, we care about the people around us. So in an effort to improve them, we need to improve ourselves first, right? You deserve this. You really do. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to look in the mirror and be happy with who you see and like who you see, right? And I want to help you with that. I'm humbled by the fact that you would even entertain me to help you with that, right? Because I take accomplishing your goals of your weight loss journey extremely, extremely important, and I am very humbled by that fact. And I really hope that you take the moment and you put yourself first and you make this small investment in yourself so that together we can crush it. So now that I've shown you how the whole system works, I really think you guys can be successful in this program, but you're going to need more than information alone. If you wanted just information, you could have gone to Google, right? But in order to improve your chances for success, you're going to need a coach. You're going to need someone who could hold you accountable on one hand, but also be there to support you and lift you up when you get a little down or answer a question that's particular to your situation in order to drastically increase your chances of success, right? And I take my job very, very seriously when it comes to this. I am humbled by the fact that you would even consider me to be your coach, and I will not let you down. I'm not going to let you quit on yourself. We're going to get through this together, and we're going to crush your fitness goals this year. All right? I promise you that. And I've been in this business for a very long time, and I know that there are two types of people. There's one type of person who recognizes the opportunity in front of them and wants to make the change and wants to improve their life and wants to start a new chapter in their book. And then there's the second type of person who's just good at making excuses, right? You can't be both. You have to be one or the other. And if you choose the excuses, you're going to have a very hard time. I'm sorry for being blunt. You're going to have a very hard time accomplishing your goals. But if you recognize the opportunity in front of you and you want to grab the bull by the horns, as they say, right? Then together, I think we could do something very, very special. And one thing that always sticks out to me personally that I've read over the years, it's the same concept. I may not quote it exactly, so forgive me, but it's the concept that on someone's deathbed, the main things that they regret are the things they didn't do, right? So I don't want you to, when your time comes to lay there and say, you know what, I was always so close to leading that healthier lifestyle, and I knew I wanted it, and I knew that it would make me happier and more confident, but I just never took that leap of faith. So I really hope, first of all, I want to thank you for listening to this entire webinar. I'm really humbled just by that fact alone, but I really hope that you take this leap of faith with me, and together we accomplish something extremely, extremely, extremely special. All right. I appreciate it. I thank you, and I'll see you on the other side.